Dot Media with their other churches that meet today. The guy who was been doing it decided that he wanted 10 weeks of paid vacation, and so he quit. So
Oh,
yeah, so Michael's not going to be doing it all the time, but he has to still. There's a little bit different to do for some of the churches than what he normally does. So he's got to do it today for that. Okay, so Hannah, I'm assuming we're good. Okay, I kind of saw you shake your head. All right. Well, welcome to Summit Center for Spiritual Living, where we share universal good through love. And I am going to light a candle that happens to have uh, two wicks in it. And the first wick represents spirit or God, and it shines a light. And then the second one that I'm lighting represents us as community. Because as we gather together, we shine a greater light, and you can kind of see that in the candle. So, all right. So, um, welcome so much. And John, um,
all right. Everybody got that up? Let me now.
it's coming up. Yeah.
Loving yesterday, loving tomorrow, loving today, loving now, loving awareness, kindness and happiness, peace and goodness, loving now. Loving music, loving singing, loving harmony, loving now, loving awareness, kindness and happiness, peace and goodness, loving now.
There he is, the star of the show. You can't hear him.
Loving forgiveness, loving gratefulness, loving creativity, loving as we could, growing in wisdom, being wiser, living better, loving what is good. Loving nature, loving beauty, loving each other, loving now, loving awareness, kindness and happiness, peace and goodness, loving now. Loving now.
Okay. Thank you, John, and welcome, Michelle and Marcia. So glad that you are here. So you're on mute,
Hi,
Michelle.
Diana.
Hi. Um, Michael's not here today. Well, he's here, but he has to do a new thought media thing. The guy who was supposed to be doing the services for Sunday decided to quit. So he's he's not going to be doing this on a regular basis. We already told him that. He can help out every once in a while, but that's it. So So hello, Marsha. I know you're there somewhere. Um,
She's,
hi.
she's hiding out. She wants to be incognito.
That's okay. No problem. I understand, but thank you for being here. Uh, so welcome to.
For church. She said, we're not dressed for church.
Oh, I totally understand that. Um, so welcome to Summit Center for Spiritual Living, and John Miller is going to be our speaker today, and we're looking at the third week or the third chapter of the introduction. We at the beginning of January we always like to do the basics of science of mind, and if you ever were to read the science of mind, the introduction um, is a great way of learning the basics. So Carol Ann had done the thing itself. I did the way it works, and John is going to be doing what it does. And then next week, Michael will finish it up with how to use it. So those are, it's great. It's a great way. Suggest that you do read the chapters if you haven't read them. It's a short amount of time. All four altogether are not that much. So what it does was only like 4 or 5 pages. So it's a definitely a thing to do. So that's what's going on with us. And Tim is here. He's going to be doing our he's also going to do our music today. So Tim, if you would like to lead us in meditation.
Okay. Coming through. God is loving the world by means of me. On this day I decide that I will be a great channel of love for all to see. God is loving the world by means of me. Peace abounds in my world by means of me. On this day I decide that I will be a great channel of peace for all to see. Peace abounds in my world by means of me. Joy expresses itself by means of me. On this day I decide that I will be a great channel of joy for all to see. Joy expresses itself by means of me.
And knowing that joy expresses itself through me, as me, around me, through spirit, I just now recognize spirit for all that spirit is. For spirit is love, light, life, joy, peace, wisdom, power, abundance. Spirit is everything. The creator, the great creator, whatever you want to call the greatest power, whether it be God or spirit or mind or just creator, is within us all. Every part of spirit is within us. Spirit expresses through us, each and every one of us, because Spirit created us. And we were created in Spirit's image. Each of us are not as large as Spirit, but as when we gather together, we get closer and closer to Spirit. So as we unify with that peace, that life, that light, that joy, that wisdom, I just know that all is well. All is well with each and every person. All is well with the planet. And I now claim for Summit Center for Spirits Willing this time of together, our time together to be a time of great faith, great love, great joy, that we take the spirit that is in each and every one of us and allow it to express that peace and love, joy, beauty, power, wisdom, light, all those wonderful attributes. I know for John, as he speaks today, that Spirit is working through him, in him, as him, and is we will, each and every person will have something that he takes with them, him or her takes with them, something else to think about. I know for Tim, I give thanks for him doing the music as well as John doing the music today, to have two wonderful musicians that we have, and that they always are willing to help and do whatever they can. I'm grateful for Michelle and Marsha being here today. I'm grateful for Carol Ann and Hannah and Kyle. And, I know for um, Michael that even though he's not with us, that he will be able to not have to worry about not being with us on a regular basis. He will be with us on a regular basis. So, anyways, I just know that their services go well as well. So I know for each and every person, health, prosperity, wholeness, completeness, anything that may be needed, whatever desire, whatever the need, it is being met right here and right now. I claim that peace is happening. Doesn't seem like it some places in the world, but it is happening. It is being returned. Peace is being restored throughout the world. And I just claim that the good, the best and highest good for each and every individual on this planet is happening right here and right now. So I give thanks. I give thanks for all the wonderful aspects of spirits that is expressing through us and in us and as us. For the healing that is happening right here, right now. For the opportunity just to be with one another, to be able to share a very special day. So I now release my word. It has already been spoken. It is already taken care of. So I let it be. Amen.
God is love in the world by means of me. On this day I decide that I will be a great channel of love for all to see. God is love in the world by means of me.
Okay, well, thank you, Tim. And we lost John.
I was going to say, we lost our speaker. What happened?
I'm sure he'll be back in a few minutes. But yeah, I don't know why, but he always has such a hard time sometimes. But well, while we're waiting on him to get back in, we might as well do a few announcements that we would normally do later on. So again, next week, Michael will be finishing our series on the introduction of the science of mind. He will be talking about how to use it. And then the following week is what it becomes is February, and February is our anniversary month. We will have been 25 or is it 26 years? It's 26 years coming up for us that we've been around. Can you believe that, Michelle? 26 years? Wow. So anyway,
Congratulations.
well, yeah, and it'll be. It's always easy to remember because it's usually right on the same day as um, the football thing. I don't know how well we started doing it. We just didn't. Nobody just we just something decided it was going to be on Sundays, and at that time we were doing it at night. So people were actually giving up um, their Super Bowl, but now at least we're in the morning, so you don't have to miss out on Super Bowl. So, which I don't really care one way or another myself. But okay, so the other announcements is Michael would always like you to reach out and to take a look at New Thought Media. Go to newthoughtmedia.org, and there are many, many, many um, different people who contribute. There's prayer every morning and every evening. It's officially at 8:15 Mountain Time in the morning and in the evening, but for us here in Ohio, it's actually 10:15 morning and evening. So anyway, so that's and Michael does that quite often, and I have a feeling I'm going to be helping out with that as well here before too long. And then also he has his show on Friday nights where he does his talks about what's going on and how we can take a look at things in a different way. And he usually has a speaker as well that puts in their inputs on that. And tonight he'll also do the he will help with the show for this evening, which is another at 8 um, for the prosperity teacher that is on the thing. So always take a good look. There's so many different things going on there, so many different places that you can go to. I'm going to also talk to, say, for John, um, that to see. guesswise.com, so that he always has something going on, different things that's um, some of his music, some of his health things, and he has all kinds of stuff. So I am going to open this up to anybody else because John's still not here. Any questions or comments that we might have for a moment?
Diana, there's noise coming. Well, it stopped all of a sudden, but there was like a swishing sound coming. And
That's when she speaks.
it's just when you speak. It's not when somebody else does. Is there
Oh,
something?
you know what? It might be that I was on. I had my musicians on my. Is that better? Has it doing it now?
Yeah, it's much better. It was like almost like a faucet running or something.
Okay, so when the musicians are playing, I have to leave my original sound on for the musicians so that I don't cut them out.
I see.
Forgot to switch it back.
Yeah, no, it's much better now.
Okay, good.
But I don't understand why, when you turn your original sound for musicians on, that that makes that sound. It shouldn't.
It shouldn't. You're right. You are right, Tim. I don't know why either. So, yeah, that's just kind of crazy. But so wow, I don't know what's going on with John. Oh goodness. Well, we could probably get into this a little bit while John is still trying to get in here. I'm sure Carol Ann's read it. I know Tim has read it in the past, and Michelle's read it in the past, and but anyway, so if we were to start looking at what it does, let's do a basic. The thing itself is spirit. It's God. It's everything there is. It is that universal power that created all. That is what the thing itself is. And so as we recognize that thing that created us and that it is always within us, that is what we're looking at. And it's only good. There is not, and there's John. There's not a bad part for it. So it's only good. And I am so glad that John is on his way. Yay. So, and then I talked about how it worked, or I talked about the way it works. The way it works is through spiritual principle. And spiritual principle are universal laws, just like physical principles like electricity or mathematics. It doesn't matter if they work the same for everybody. And just because you make a mistake or you don't know how to use the math to keep your checkbook in correct, it doesn't matter. It still works the same way. So spiritual principles work the same way for everybody. Now they work better for people uh, as they get to know uh, what by the person, what by their belief. So it is through your belief as to what it is taken up. John, are you there? Hi, John. Okay. All right. Well, he's on the call somewhere. So, John, whenever you're ready, just let us know. Carol Ann, what did you want to say about? You can help us out.
I like this chair. Of course, I love all three of them. When I read them, I think this is the best one. And how about that? That's a nice introduction to John to take us from there and with this
Yeah.
exciting here.
We're all set for you, John.
Well, hello again. I'm starting a new computer fund. If you want to send donations, I don't know. I didn't shut off all week. So now. All right, let's see if we can get this going. What it does? Well, first of all, the thing itself, whatever you call it, you could call it creative reality. You could call it God. You could call it the spirit of life. I call it creative reality or creative loving awareness. But it primarily what it does is it manifests, and it manifests substantially all the varied forms of the universe that we experience, including us. So let me get my notes up here. It's waking up gradually. Yeah, we're in a real elaborate, complex universe. It may have started simple billions and trillions of years ago, but it's so complex that, and yet at the same time, the basis of it is very simple. It's creative awareness, something that we all experience and express in what we do, but we have to get back in touch with the root of it, the source of it. Another term for the thing itself is the source or source reality. Just about got my notes up here where I know where I'm going. Oh, here we go. So what it does is it manifests, it imagines, it generates and orchestrates what seem at times to be miracles. Isn't this a miracle that we're here and doing this and that anything exists? With the expanding varieties of ideas and expressions of this source, it manifests multiple levels of realities with nodes of intelligent interaction, communication, and creative participation. That's what we do. We participate creatively. And I believe that the real purpose of life is to learn and grow in this creative awareness. For both, this is a universal idea of a wellspring, an energy fountain, and for each of us, we're a drop of this temporarily self-identifying spray of creativity. Ultimately, each individuated dance of intention is destined to recognize, unify with, and fully realize its expression of this creative, loving reality awareness. Now, in the course of purposeful living, we serve humanity with whatever fosters the freedom of will, clarifies the knowledge, inspires the intuitive insight, fires the passion, and manifests the action for pursuing greater awareness and creativity. If we look in the Bible, the name of God, Yahweh, is translated, I am that I am. European philosopher René Descartes later posited, cogito ergo sum, Latin meaning, I think, therefore I am. William James, a more modern philosopher, influenced by New Thought, taught, as you think, so you are. Ernest Holmes expressed that same idea with, life is a mirror and will reflect back to the thinker what he thinks into it. Also with his better known saying, change your thinking, change your life. And he also said, to learn how to think is to learn how to live. Universal Mind is the transformative think tank where the source creative reality generates thought forms and moves them into apparent expression with action. Greek philosopher Plato called these ideas, with a capital I, the perfect forms that are patterns for the things that appear in our reality. Each of us does this in our own individual expression and thinking and creativity. So limiting ourselves to just the 5 sense perception, though, we would miss most of this amazing performance of creative awareness in countless realities. We perceive only a tiny fraction of the full frequency band. Our sight only sees a tiny bit of the light spectrum. Other dimensions may be as close as the air in your nose. We have allowed others in multiple arenas to sequester knowledge, to hide much of reality and manipulate perception within a restricted sense of partiality, partial to fully false guidelines, maybe. For example, sometimes legitimacy is distorted or faked under the rubric of the science. But according to our state of mind, with its processes of intuiting, intending, thinking, and feeling, we can move through and beyond what seems like time, which is just a conceptual agreement, beyond what has been taught to us by others, and beyond apparent mistakes to experience greater awareness of multifaceted manifestation. According to Ernest Holmes, here's a quote, "The first great discovery that humans made was that they could think. This was the day when a human rose from the ground and said, 'I am.' This marked the first great day of personal attainment. And from that day, each human became an individual and had to make all further progress for oneself. Any compulsory evolution stopped when the human became an individual, and from that day had to work in conscious union with nature's forces. But not having to work alone, for instinctive life has always been and will never depart. Instinctive life desires that each of us shall express more and yet more of our own limitless possibilities. Humanity is evolving from an infinite basis. Behind us is the great unknown, but not the great unknowable. For the unknown becomes known through us, and whatever more instinctive life is to do for us must be done through us. Nature must work through us in order to work for us. And this is true of all along the line of life and endeavor. So that's from The Science of Mind, page 6. In the process of creation from this source, awareness we call God, a universal realm of thoughts, conscious and unconscious ideas, as well as active energy, is unfolded. Some refer to this as mind with a capital M, universal mind, or higher consciousness. There are images, frequencies, and laws of mathematics and physics established in this realm, on which we depend for planning, doing, analyzing, and understanding what's going on. This universe of ideas and actions operates, though, in a consistent manner. Creative reality expresses its aware energy as intelligent frequencies through universal laws, intentionally creating the mental, emotional, and physical realms. And here's a phrase you've heard before from me that I've expanded on a little. I like to cover a few of the bases of the manifesting of creativity in our universe. Quarks, electrons, atoms, molecules, stars, suns, planets, soil, plants, trees, birds, bugs, frogs, fish, squirrels, cats, and I have a couple of them walking around here, tigers, dogs, donkeys, elephants, octopi, aardvarks, and armadillos, and possibly even other humanoid species such as giants from here or other places. All of creation manifests from this source awareness. Conscious experience ranges from peace to vicious violence, from love to anger and hate, from joy to sadness, and much more. From Holmes, the ability to think seems to be an automatic thing. The brain seemed to be the organ of thought, and of course, when death stilled the brain, it would no longer operate. This was self-evident. But the day came when some wise person said that it is not the brain that thinks at all. For if the brain of itself could think, then one would cut it out and it would keep right on thinking. And another quote, but to return to the thinker, we do not see it, but the proof of its reality is in the evidence of its works. There is a thinker and a doer behind of the organism who is using it for conscious purpose. This is a great discovery, for it means that the body without the thinker could neither be sick nor suffer, for without the thinker, there could be no movement of the body. So why then are we sick? He goes on, memory is the storehouse of all my conscious thoughts, and it is active. My body is not conscious of life, but my thought is conscious of my body. My body is operated upon by my thought, and it must also be operated on by my memory, since memory is active. But since memory is only the result of conscious thought, memory of itself is an unconscious operation of what was once a conscious thought. And he also said practically the whole human race is hypnotized because it thinks what somebody else told it to think. Well, again, the phrase I am that I am is a statement of self-awareness. To the degree that we consciously recognize and unify with creative, loving reality and pursue our intuitive intention for beneficial action, we engage in aware living. This serves our own betterment. We must expose and turn from the programmed deception of a control system planned and implemented by those who prefer to serve self, even to the point of tyranny. We must reject the recycled doubt, fear, and limitation that undermine health and well-being, that delay our conscious reunion with creative reality. Ernest Holmes' message is that whatever sickness or poverty was, it was the result of thought. And by changing the thought, one could change the effect. One can learn to turn away from the body when it was sick and go back into mind and think of the body as being perfect. For this thought worked independently of the body. So Holmes tells us to abandon the image of sickness in favor of one of health, saying to oneself, quote, I am perfect, no matter what the appearance may be. He found that, and he's talking now about a man thinking of himself, he found that if he always thought of himself as being perfect, he would always feel better. But what should he do with his body when it appeared sick? How was he to think of himself when he was sick? Could he deny that he was sick when he was suffering? Yes, for his sickness was the result of thought, and by changing the thought, he could change the effect. He learned to turn away from the body when it was sick and go back into mind and think of the body as being perfect, for his thought worked independently of the body. He turned from the image of sickness to the idea of health and said, I am perfect, no matter what the appearance may be. So creative healing. Most of us do not follow the wisdom of good holistic thinking. As a society, we adopt the treat illness with poisons model. It's propagandized by the pharmaceutical industry and controlled media and bribed authorities. And further, we have accepted the problem reaction solution deceptions of corrupt false authorities. Each of us that wants to survive and grow in consciousness must learn to take control of our own well-being, detoxifying poisons, purging parasites, and managing the nanotechnology now, harmful frequencies, artificial intelligence, all these aspects of modern life, and approach them with creative wisdom and self-power. In Plato's well-known example of the cave, captive humans are fixated on scary images portrayed on the wall by their captors in firelight. And they're afraid to venture from the cave due to their false perception and fear. In another example, Plato likened the soul operating in a human body to a charioteer with two flying horses trying to fly in opposite directions. Today, there are many more than 2 or 3 varying influences vying for control of mind and body. In Buddhism, influences, distractions, and polarities are rejected with the Eastern notion of negation, nete, not this, not that, on the path to nirvana. This practice is one process for reaching enlightenment, for returning to conscious reunion with what we might call source reality. In the West, the Hebrew idea of repentance and Yeshua's teachings of forgiveness and love are more favored positive ways of moving beyond limitation to greater awareness. What if we could figure out a positive way to say or describe almost anything or any situation? For example, instead of complaining about how cold it is outside, I could say, I look forward to it being warmer tomorrow. A more positive way of approach. Expanding our awareness to recognize the whole of consciousness and move beyond the dynamic interplay of apparently opposing forces that perpetuate falsehood is the way of liberation from limited perception and experience, expanding our awareness to wholeness. Life originates from creative reality, manifesting aware energy that is loving and good. This aware being expresses itself as loving, beauty, and union, as well as allowing expressions of a darker separative nature in the universe. Love is within us from homes. It cannot be destroyed. It can be ignored. To the extent that we abandon love, we will feel it has abandoned us. Denying love is our only problem, and embracing it is the only answer. Through the power of love, we can let go of past history and begin again. Love heals, forgives, and makes whole. And here's a quote from Rudolf Steiner, who was a contemporary of Holmes. And this quote he stated in 1917, in times when there were no electrical currents, when the air was not swarming with electrical influences, and side note, there are way more of them today than there were in 1917. He goes on, it was easier to be human. For this reason, in order to be human at all today, it is necessary to expend much stronger spiritual capacities than was necessary a century ago. So we can use that same quote now and talk about a century ago when Steiner was making the statement, and it still applies. Here's a quote from Martin Luther King, for whom we just celebrated his birth. If we are to get on to the right side of the world revolution, we as a nation must undergo a radical revolution of values. We must rapidly begin the shift from a thing-oriented society to a person-oriented society. I call this process betterment. Never, as Holmes agrees with me, never limit your view of life by any past experience. When you want to do a big thing, get the mental pattern, make it perfect, know just what it means, enlarge your thought, keep it to yourself, pass it over to the creative power behind all things, wait and listen, and when the impression comes, follow it with assurance. Don't talk to anyone about it, never listen to negative talk or pay attention to it, and you will succeed where all others fail. Move forward, think only about your dreams, and never think about what you do not want. He also said, since the only life you have is the life of the spirit within you, you need but permit its radiance to flow through your thought into self-expression. You are surrounded by a dynamic force, a great surge of living power. You are immersed in and saturated with the vital essence of life. Its presence permeates everything, binding all together in one complete whole. Ultimately, we can expand caring for ourselves, others, and humanity as a whole in loving kindness. We heal traumas, illness, the sense of separation in this process. The real self is creative awareness individualized, the inner connection to higher dimensions and God, the loving creative reality, source awareness and power. In the wisdom of creative reality awareness, beyond the doubt and fear of misunderstanding, we can dedicate ourselves to learning, improving, and expressing the art, goodness, and well-being of the Creator. Now let's just have a meditative moment to conclude. The spiritual path to realization leads beyond doubt and fear. Now is the time to move with purpose, with intention, for good. Live in the presence where the action is. Recognize the mystery of ever now. Unify with creative reality. And realize the truth of creation, of being creative awareness in manifestation, loving your way. So be it.
Thank you, John. That was wonderful. And so
It
basically,
was worth the weight of the delay.
it's okay. It still was great. And so what it does is it creates. It creates. So, you know, the thing itself is spirit, the behind everything. How it works is through spiritual principle. And then what it does is it creates. And we have to remember that we are very, very, very creative. So, but thank you. That was very good. Is there any other questions or comments? Carolyn, you're mute.
Yeah, and that creativity is only limited by our mental awareness. You know, if we have to be alert and aware in order for that creativity to flow through us. And lots of times people say, well, I pray and pray and pray for this, you know, and I lead a good life and I do all these things. But the question really is, are you open? Are you open and receptive for the way it comes through and how it comes through? And that's why I love the fact that Science of Mind has practitioners. And I've said that before. I think that is such a guiding light for people in Science of Mind, even if they're outside of Science of Mind, to grow and become more alert and aware, knowing that she can do this, he can do this. Why can't I do this? And then that, you know, and then when they voice that, it's just a beautiful natural opening to assist them in another step in awareness.
Wonderful.
So how it works to me is just, you know, you can say, you know, it's love and it's law, but the fact that it works and it works every time when you are receptive, that to me is the magic.
Right. Right. And when you put your belief into it as well, because it is all by what you believe. So if it's not working for you, change your thinking and start taking in more belief that it works, because it's working all the time. So Tim, we are ready for a song. All right.
By the way, that earlier meditation song was very lovely.
Oh, thank you.
Like that.
Oh, were you able to view it?
Yes,
I
we heard the
thought,
meditation song.
well, the rest of you did.
We're not sure about John.
Yeah.
I think he heard part of it at least.
Okay. So let's hope you enjoy this one too. I made a new decision as I woke up about a principle that I was always taught on Sunday mornings here, where my mind goes, my world always follows. So I'm taking a new direction with my thoughts. For the sake of being a survivor, I had really forgotten how to live. Until a voice inside whispered, I think you recognize that it's really time for something to give. So I'll let this end be a beginning. Empty this cup and fill it with something new. I don't need to know how or where it happens. I'll just be the vessel for it to shine through. I've heard a thing or two about painful endings. They're often new beginnings in disguise. So I'll release with love all that needs to go now, and take in this new day with new eyes. So I'll release with love all that needs to go now, and take in this new day with new eyes.
Absolutely beautiful.
Thanks.
We are so blessed to have Tim, to have you, and to have John. We are so blessed to have such great musicians. Oh gosh, I love that song. Have you ever sang that before, Tim?
You mean here?
Yeah,
Probably in the
probably.
past
Right.
3+ years I've known you all.
Okay, well, anyways, it was beautiful either way. So thank you. And so it is that time in our service where we give everybody the opportunity to give. There are two ways you can give. One, you can go to Zelle and you can give online, and you would do that by going to Zelle, and then you would go to SSC of Akron at gmail.com. That's SSC of Akron at gmail.com, and you can give that way. Or you can send a check with the word summit on it, and that would go to 1199 Lexington Avenue, Akron, Ohio 44310. And we'll make sure that that gets put into the account. So I would just want you to take your giving and imagine it in your hands, right top over left, and just know with me that all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive is blessed in a very special way. And that it goes to the work of Summit Spiritual Center or Summit Center for Spiritual Living, and the truth that makes us free. And it is returned back to the giver in a very special way, 10 times or more. So it is. Amen. All right, John, how about some more good and more good?
Good. More good is mine. An ever-increasing good is mine. Unlimited, infinite good is mine. Wherever I go, I see good. Whatever I do, I feel oh so good. Worthy and entitled to good and more good. Good crowds itself upon us, wraps itself around us. We give ourselves permission to accept more good, express more good. More good is ours. Ever increasing good is ours. Thank you, Spirit and soul.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so we kind of did announcements earlier. John, I did mention about yeswise.com. So unless there's something else, I'm not going to go to announcements again. So with that, we're going to do a moment of silence, and I will ring the bell. And this is the time for you to take the opportunity to bring into mind the person or persons, or maybe it's for the world, that may need some help. That something that may need help in healing. And just know with me now that that healing is happening right now. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
We are the people of love. We are the people of love. Sing out, people, sing out love. We are the people of love. We are the people of peace. We are the people of peace. Sing out, people, sing out peace. We are the people of peace. We are the people of joy. We are the people of joy. Sing out, people, sing out joy. We are the people of joy. We are the people of love. We are the people of love. Sing out, people, sing out. We are the people of love. We are the people of love.
All right. Thank you so much. And Hannah, you can now end our Facebook feed. And once that is ended, we can make sure that take an opportunity to